Greetings all. I got a few requests from last week for us to video record our virtual drop-in session. Totally forgot to do that, but what I am going to do is just do a quick run through of that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and quick run through, and I will send the slide deck along as well. So we had folks just modeling a drop-in, so having folks put a song they've listened to in the chat. This is a really nice way to build a class playlist, and at the same time was sharing a Spotify um, playlist that I had created as we were going through. Um, and sorry. So just going to quick profile one, a virtual engagement strategy for today, and then we'll come back after break and we'll do more. And again, these are not designed to be the end alls. So just sort of modeling the morning message. It's great to see you here, and we're going to what we did with folks was play the activity for about 10 minutes, and then we spent time unpacking it together, using our collective wisdom to mine for tips and tricks. And really with the idea that we can offer some things, but we are all better together. And yeah, so we did our greeting, going around the room, greeting each other, and then asking, I'm curious, what was one of your favorite junior high or middle school songs or artists? Now, obviously, you would switch up this greeting for students. It might be their own middle school song or artist as we were going along. So that definitely provided for some laughs, some fun, and some trips down memory lane. The main activity that we showcased today was something Jocelyn and I dubbed conference call. One of the pieces that we got from the survey was people were interested in trying to help students do a better job in breakout rooms to actually talk to each other. And so we wanted to come back to the basics. Kids need to practice this skill for a short amount of time. They need to do something easy, high engagement to build their stamina for connection. And so, one of the things that gets in the way for the students that we've heard is the black screens. And so, we thought, what if we, if our expectation was is that we were just on an old-fashioned conference call. So, for any of you that are old enough to know what that device is over there, and we really were basically having a group telephone conversation. So video cameras, videos are off for everyone. And it's really just about listening and speaking. And so that's where we started with. So we gave the directions. Basically, the idea is this, is that you're going to put students in breakout rooms with two other people, possibly three. So there would be groups of 3 to 4. Again, cameras are off. We'll greet each other. Hey, hey, Jocelyn, hey, Jamie, hey, whomever, it's good to see you. Just real brief, and then answer the question that's provided. You might want to get fancier and have the kids use their reaction emojis. Um, and then the idea is you do 20 seconds per person per question. So the goal is for each person to speak and to contribute, but not, you want them to come back and say they didn't have enough time. You want them asking for more time as opposed to them sitting there in the awkward silence. One of the things that we came up with after running the activity, and all the things that I'm going to offer here, I work with a sixth grade advisory, and so I'm having the opportunity to kind of road test. It's a good group, but it's not a perfect group. They definitely do things that help make the different activities better, and then bring them here, and then we kind of talk about what are some of the other ways. So this was one of the improvements that we came up with, was to give students anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds of think time before, about the question, so they could have an answer kind of in their head before you pushed them into break rooms. Before they go, you want to have an order for sharing so that once you get there, it's real easy. And so we came up with alphabetical order by first name. So A's start, Z's would be last, and so on to keep it simple. During the activity, I tried to change it up so that the A's weren't always first, and we did reverse up the alphabetical order, and that was just too much thinking. People had a hard time figuring that out. So you might also want to consider putting them in groups with friends to start so that they experience some immediate success. Um, if I were in the classroom, one of the things that I used to do, I did it on old fashioned index cards in the past, but you could use a Google form or any numbers of different ways, is to find out who their preferred partners are and if there's anybody in the class that they prefer not to work with. And so then you have some idea of who they might have a easier time chatting with. And so you would do that. Some quick tips about setting up the breakout rooms. When I ran this activity, I bungled it badly, which is fine. It was totally great. So basically figuring out how many kids you have and creating breakout rooms so that you have three, optimally 3+ students in the room. And then you would want to go down to the options key down here. And then it's really hard to get screenshots of these, so I apologize. You're going to want to move all participants into breakout rooms automatically. That just pushes them all so they don't decide, they get pushed. Allow participants to return to the main session at any time. I think that that's probably in case something goes awry. And then I click this breakout rooms close automatically. And instead of after 30 minutes, I put after 1 minute, then I don't have to keep the timer. So it's just a 1 minute breakout room and come back. As students start to build their stamina, you might push that up to 2 minutes. Um, Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they have a 1.5 minute or a seconds sort of piece. And then I would unclick the countdown because this is such a short breakout room. You don't need a countdown timer. It's just short. So they got to um, keep moving. You might also assign yourself to a breakout room so that you can have conversations with your students. Okay. Again, we put a slide in here about modeling what this might look like. We did a question, what are you excited for during winter break, as our modeling question. And we quick kind of shared a few things about that. We modeled the greeting, and then this is a question that we often skip over. Anything we should be mindful as a group. The kids all know what's going to happen, so they know the pitfalls and the problems. They might be crickets, but the more that you can really promote that this is our space together, and the better job we do making these things successful, the more fun we're going to have with each other. And so they really do know what kinds of things are going to go awry. There's a link right here to the slide deck of questions. There's no rocket science to these questions. You could substitute these out with any other, but you want them to be pretty easy to answer when you're first getting going. So um, the first set of questions, I'll link here. Uh, Here was our starting question. What are you excited to be doing during winter break? And then the first question we used was, what would you do with $1 million? Everybody has ideas about that, and it helps kids get to know a little bit about each other. When I did this, my partner talked about that they would actually give away a lot of the money, which I thought was a really insightful answer. Anyways, so yeah, so we played the game for about 10 minutes. So going back and forth between the breakout rooms, having a question, coming back. Oh, you know what? I want to be sure to show you this one. And so the other thing that's in here, so again, asking the students, how did that first one go? How many people in your group answered the question? So you might ask them to say, out of your group of 3, how many people talked? anything we need to adjust before moving on. So that is a strategy where you ask the question, you come back and see how it went once they've done one, and then elicit their input as you're going along. Again, the goal is for them to have fun and for them, excuse me, to talk to each other. Um, I also want to add this in here is this idea of having student choice and voice. And so by, I ask the students, I'm like, does anybody have a question, after we've done 2 or 3 rounds, does anybody have a question they would like to add? And I got, and I had them private message me so that I could pick them. I also saved the chat so that I could go back and look at those questions and add them in. But that gives them some ownership of the question. And it allows me to have still a little bit of selection for that. So it's not just anything. And then I would type that question in that spot there. And so we reflected on what might create a little bit more engagement, things that we could do to improve, which I went back and added into here. I also have some notes over here on the side. Students offering questions of their own, pausing a little bit, and maybe having them work with friends. We did not get down to the applying this to academics. And I think ultimately that's where you get to. But I think you play this multiple times just for fun, just for connection, just for short, um, until you start having students asking for more time and for them to start, responding that they have been able to apply this. And then we'll add this section about looking under the hood, things that make, you all know it's the secret sauce, the ways that you, the hidden things potentially. And so I think we've kind of talked about a number of these pieces already. The last piece that I want to highlight here is there are a lot of people in your building that aren't with students on a regular basis that would love to be, and including yourselves probably. So encouraging staff to invite extra adults to join in for that 5 or 10 minutes or 15, depending on how long they want to do it, to help with the tech, to maybe run the tech so that you can be in the groups or to be in the groups. It's just a nice, easy way to do that. And I think you would be surprised. There are a lot of people that really, for me, being in the classroom is the best part of my day. And as this central office role, there just aren't. I wish that we all had a touch point with students every day. And so that wraps up that. If you have any questions or anything you want to add, feel free. We will put out some invites for more drop-in sessions after the winter break. And we probably won't see you before then, but enjoy yourselves. I hope you get a chance to unplug, relax, rest, rejuvenate, and we will see you in 2021. Thanks much.